This is Pete, or Kenshin1913, along with
Mom.
This is another Cooking with Kenshin1913. What are we making today?
Today we're making Frizzelles. Okay, so today we're making Frizzelles, and Frizzelles are like something that you eat with something else. A lot of people have them as like a little appetizer along with other, olives or salami or something like that. And I actually make little mini ones, but you can make this recipe into bigger ones. Frizzelles, you may see them in the grocery store. Usually Italian bakeries make them, and they're probably about this big, like a small potato, and they're very crunchy because they're dried out, and people put them inside like a beans and macaroni or a scroll and beans. That's escarole and beans. It's a winter dish. We just make them because we just like to pop them in our mouth. They're kind of like addicting, like popcorn, when we're having a party. So the recipe itself is quite simple. It's flour, salt, baking powder, black pepper, olive oil, and water. And you mix that into a dough, and then you take it and you roll into small little pieces, and then bake it. What I end up doing with my oil is I do half and half. So I have some olive oil and some vegetable oil to make the amount that I need. So other than that, I have my flour in here. I'm going to add the rest of the ingredients and start to mix it. The actual ingredients are going to be on the web page that Pete puts up. So we have about 3.5 cups of flour here, and we're putting pepper. So this is a savory. This is not a sweet cookie or something to munch on as we usually make.
Yeah, this is main thing is it's pretty peppery. So she puts in 1.5 teaspoons or tablespoons of, I don't know what this is. It's baking powder. Yeah. Then we're gonna add salt. We're gonna add black pepper. And the reason why we're using, and you can make this without a mixer, but the reason why we're using the mixer is because you got the nice hook attachment.
Now, if you wanted to, you could actually put hot pepper flakes in here. I'm using ground black pepper.
Yeah, this is an interesting cookie or baked good because I like to use it like when I'm having soup. Sometimes if it's not peppery enough, sometimes I'll take a piece and break it off and throw it in the soup. And that's always very good.
Okay, so now I'm gonna just give this a quick mix, and then I'm gradually gonna start adding my oil into here and cold water.
And now we're gradually adding our oil. Now, why do you add half olive oil, half vegetable oil?
Well, I just like the taste of olive oil. I think it's more of a tasty product that you're
Right.
making.
So would you rather just use all olive oil?
No,
or?
because you don't want it too heavy, and so I kind of split it.
Yeah.
At one time when I used to make them when I was younger, really younger, at home with my mother's house, I used to just use all vegetable oil. So I'm going to turn this off for a moment, and I'm going to get my water and start adding that gradually. Okay, so I have my cold water, and I'm going to start to add that a little bit. Now, I'm going to see how my dough actually is. Sometimes you may not need to add it all. And sorry for the noise that this is going to make. what we're making here is kind of a dough without yeast.
So we're adding a little more water. The dough is still what? Too dry?
With just a little bit.
Yeah. So one thing you want to do is preheat your oven to 400 degrees.
Okay. So I'm touching the dough, and the dough is not sticky. Okay, see, it doesn't stick on your hands. That's the consistency that you want. Now, I only used, even though it called for a cup of water, that's why you're putting it in slowly. I only used actually just a half a cup of cold water. So now I'm going to take this out, transfer it to my table, and start to roll it. Okay, so I'm just flouring my surface here just to give it a little kneading. And as you can see, you know, this is, as I said, not a sticky dough.
Yeah, there's not really much to say about this other than it's just a pretty interesting recipe. You know, you get a lot of good peppery flavor.
Yeah, I used to go to one of the bakery here in town, and they used to make their own, and boy, did they fly off the shelf. People would buy them like crazy. They would sell them in little bags. So I'm just going to take pieces of this, okay, and roll it. Now the ones that you see in the grocery store, they're like this. They're big, like this.
So we're gonna make ours.
We're making ours small.
Yeah.
And that's why I'm saying they're like popcorn when you're eating them. You have a glass of wine with some cheese.
Oh yeah, there you go. That's actually a great suggestion. So yeah, you're just gonna roll it out to certain thickness. Is there any?
There's no
specific
rhyme or reason to it, but this is about what I would have it.
Yeah.
Okay, I don't know. I have to measure it
Yeah,
to see exactly what that is, and then we're going to cut them, put them on a cookie sheet, and bake them. So as I'm cutting it, see, it's just a little piece like this, and you just have to throw them on your pan.
Now
They don't really rise, even though they have baking powder in them. They might rise a little bit, but you can have them close by. And then usually what I do is like halfway through baking them, and I'm sorry, we're going to actually time it because my recipe says just bake until browned. Yeah. So that's not giving you any good. But we're gonna give you at least an estimated time. Yeah. So we're gonna put them like this, and then what I do is, you know, when I'm checking them, I might shake the pan and they'll move around so that they'll brown on all sides.
So yeah, we're just gonna keep cutting them up.
So probably the hardest part of this whole recipe is taking the time to roll it out. Yeah.
So we'll roll out some more, put them on a tray, throw them in a 400 degree oven, and we'll let you know how long they've been in there for.
Okay, so here they are. You see they're golden brown, and as many as you cut, they don't really shrink, but you know they're not stuck to the bottom of the pan any longer, and they really don't grow. They might puff just a little bit, but here they are.
Yeah, it's been about a half hour. We cooked them again at 400 degrees for about a half hour. If you're making bigger, it might take a little longer. And there you go. Yeah. So let's eat them. All right, here is our Friselles here. As you can see, these little peppery, crumbly cookies, I guess.
Little peppery cookie.
Yeah.
That's what they
Feed
are.
them to the squirrels outside. They're going to get a hot little treat.
Yeah, don't give them to the squirrel outside. It'd be hot.
But Thing about it is they're nice and dry. They're very crunchy.
But they're not totally dry. You can taste that little bit of the olive
oil.
oil that's in there. And as I say, once you start eating these, when you have a glass of wine or you're having some other complementing foods.
Yeah. These could almost replace like your oyster crackers, honestly.
Yeah, except they're hot.
Because they're good. They're not hot as in like super hot, like actual heat. I'm talking about spiciness.
Yeah. And we actually made 2 trays of these.
Mm-hmm.
So you get a nice quantity of them.
Oh yeah.
And you could put more pepper if you like it hotter. You could put, as I mentioned, hot pepper flakes if you wanted to do that. But yeah, you just got to keep an eye on them. I think we said about a half hour.
For this size, if you're making them bigger, then maybe a little longer. But anyways, I've been me with Kenshin1913 along with
Mom.
And this has been another Cooking with Kenshin1913.
Enjoy and happy eating.